Gran Turismo games have been on a downward trajectory ever since its PlayStation 3 days. Granted, Gran Turismo 5 and 6 were both good games in their own right. Gran Turismo Sport is where, in my opinion, the series started to drift away from its roots. Sport was an online-only title, and a lack of a focused single-player component at launch kind of detached it from a series that was always known for its in-depth solo offerings. This is not to say that Sport was a bad game, and in the years following its release it received a ton of updates for its online modes, along with a decent chunk of single-player content added in for good measure. In hindsight, Gran Turismo Sport was setting up the stage for Gran Turismo 7, a stage so big that Sport itself would just be a mode within the game's latest iteration. That alone should give you an idea about the scale that Polyphony Digital was aiming for with Gran Turismo 7, and after playing it for the last several days, I'm convinced that Gran Turismo 7 is by far the best entry the series has seen in years, if not one of the greatest racing simulation games of all time. Gran Turismo 7 offers a number of single-player modes, but chief among them is the Cafe mode, which will ease players into its various gameplay mechanics. Literally taking place in a cafe, an NPC will initially take you through amateur activities like how the in-game garage works and tuning their ride, but the more menu, that's what in-game tasks are called, players complete, more complex racing scenarios start getting triggered. From collecting cars from a specific vehicle manufacturer to competing in championships, the cafe is an enthralling ride that never gets old. Once you complete a specific event, you'll be treated with splendid visuals describing the manufacturer's origins. It literally feels like you're a student in a school where you've undertaken this beautiful journey of learning the history behind the cars you collect and the people who made them. All of this is backed by a solid yet simple progression system called Collector Level. As the name implies, Collector Level will increase when a player procures a new vehicle. As you level up, you'll unlock rewards like in-game credits, cosmetic items like helmets and attire, and even vehicles. The Cafe mode is easily one of the biggest highlights of Gran Turismo 7, and it's a bit shocking that something so simple can be so addicting. On the roster front, Gran Turismo 7 features over 400 car models that have been stunningly recreated with utmost attention to detail. The vehicles in Gran Turismo Sport already looked superb, so the improvements here are mostly down to how the lighting is handled and the improved texture materials. Thanks to the PS5's processing power, cars look closer to reality. The reflections are crisp and detailed. The way light bounces off each vehicle during night races is a sight to behold, and the interior of the vehicles are intricately crafted. Players can buy new vehicles from the used car section, or Brand Central. The in-game pricing felt balanced in my experience, and many of the vehicles on offer can be bought by completing the various modes that Gran Turismo 7 has to offer. I didn't need to grind to buy a new car, as the credit system just flows naturally. There's also a way to buy in-game credits through real money, but the store content was not available during my time with the game, so I have no impressions to share on how monetization is handled in Gran Turismo 7. But as I mentioned before, the existing system felt balanced, so I think players need not worry. Although not much has changed the way players will increase their car collection, the same cannot be said about how vehicles handle. Gran Turismo 7 has this laser-sharp focus on precise driving, which makes emphasis on speed, braking points, taking the right angle in a corner, and many other minor details as important parameters when you're racing. But when you get the hang of it, controlling vehicles in Gran Turismo 7 feels like seeing a sweet dream. Driving becomes even more challenging thanks to the game's AI. Vehicle AI is smart, and they will defend their position, cut you off, or hold the line. Especially at higher difficulties. Do not expect rash AI behavior, as Gran Turismo is about doing things the right way. All of this comes together to construct excellent racing mechanics and memorable moments. On the track front, Gran Turismo 7 features over 90 variations of them, which include fan favorites like Trial Mountain, Le Mans, and Nürburgring. As expected, the tracks have been designed carefully so that they resemble their real-life counterparts as closely as possible. Each of these tracks has different events attached to them. You can select an arcade mode and go racing against the game's AI, do time trials, and best your own time lapse, or complete drift trials. If that's not enough, you can also run through a circuit experience where you need to hit specific lap times within sections of the same track. You can also have a race with custom settings like penalty rules, number of cars, and whatnot. All in all, there's a comprehensive suite of options attached to each track, which makes them highly replayable. As mentioned earlier, a number of single-player modes have been added besides the aforementioned cafe. Players can partake in missions and music rally, wherein the former is a series of events that requires players to complete inactivities like completing a lap in a vehicle with limited fuel, drift around a track and achieve a certain score, catch up with other players and win the race, maintaining a certain straight line speed, or hitting every cone in your path. The music rally mode is similar to the classic time extension races that you have probably played a million times before, but the difference here is that seconds have been replaced with beats. Granted, none of these modes sound like out-of-the-box ideas, but as a whole, they add to the experience. Personally, I found them to be nice distractions from the cafe mode, or something that players can focus on once they complete other modes. Gran Turismo 7 features a suite of customization options scattered across its tuning, garage, and GT Auto sections. Through the settings menu in the garage, you can customize your vehicle to a T, from changing body height to updating differentials. There are dozens of options that can be tinkered with. These settings will feel complex to the average player, but for those who are looking for that crucial tenth of a second, the settings feature provides a complex structure of options. You can also widen the vehicle body, make your own livery in an editor, change wheels, and replace existing parts with brand new components. Some of these are cosmetic in nature, but the likes of adding a rear wing or regaining body rigidity will likely impact on-track handling. Gran Turismo 7 also has an in-game section for buying vehicle-specific parts, which will improve performance parameters for brakes, tires, and other components. Buying these items will be crucial for races where only specific components are allowed, like, say, races which allow only soft compound tires. All in all, Gran Turismo 7 features a very extensive framework for ensuring your car is up to snuff for incoming races, provided you're ready to invest your time to learn about the game's various complicated systems. Another parameter that will impact races is Gran Turismo 7's dynamic weather system. An excellent example of this is how the track behaves under heavy rain. As you follow the car ahead of you, a stream of water will get accumulated on the non-racing line, and should you dare to race on that, the car's handling may suffer and it may go off track. Polyphony Digital have revealed that even little things like track temperature will impact tire grip, so if you're racing during the day, track temperature may be normal, resulting in better grip, but on the same track during the night, tire grip may not be as good. The developers have used a weather simulation system to implement atmospheric effects that will result in several on-track conditions, like hazy, dry, and clear. It's a complex web of simulations that cannot be explained in full in a review, but in simpler terms, Gran Turismo 7 features one of the most realistic weather effects in a racing game. Another technical area that Gran Turismo 7 excels in is the sound of cars. Up until the PlayStation 3 era, cars would sound like they were running through some cheap speaker. Gran Turismo Sport's sounds were much better, but now thanks to the PS5's Tempest 3D audio tech, Gran Turismo 7's sound system is just fantastic. Listening to the engine roaring as I sped down a straight was a pleasant experience. Furthermore, I was also able to predict the direction from which a vehicle was trying to overtake me just by judging the direction of the sound. Besides using the PS5's aural features, Gran Turismo 7 perhaps has the best implementation of DualSense features. If you're traveling with great speed down a straight and plan to brake late, the trigger will become hard to pull down. There is a continuous sense of rumble as I switched gears, or when one of my tires landed in a puddle. Specific on-track events, like the aforementioned ones, have a different intensity of haptic feedback, resulting in a racing experience like never before. A returning feature from Gran Turismo Sport is the Scapes mode. For those who are unaware, Scapes is Gran Turismo 7's photo mode, but dialed up to the max. This isn't just merely a photo mode. This is a photo editor's dream. The mode features several hundred locations across the world wherein players can place their favorite cars and play with dozens of technical options like filters, lighting intensity, angle of the shot, and others. I could easily see many players investing several hours into Scapes as they look for that perfect angle and shot. The fact that Polyphony Digital has added so many options into something that doesn't impact gameplay is bedazzling. Gran Turismo 7 features Sport mode. which is technically another game come to think of it. It features daily races as players aim for the best driver rating, DR, which in turn is related to the sportsmanship rating, SR. So any kind of rash driving will impact your SR, which will also affect your DR. I was able to get some time with this mode, however, the lobbies were not full, so I wasn't able to test the full extent of this mode. But given that this mode is literally called Sport, I don't expect the experience to be largely different from Gran Turismo Sport. Lastly, split screen returns with Gran Turismo 7, so you can tag along with a friend on a couch. This mode largely plays out as expected, but there is a lack of cockpit view, which is kind of expected given that the game has to render 2 instances of gameplay at once. If I were to describe Gran Turismo 7 in a few words, then it would be as follows. Gran Turismo 7 is a celebration of car culture. It's an accumulation of everything racing games should be. There is a long-running "are video games art" debate that has been part of the industry's discourse for the past several years. My review won't resolve that debate, but if games are art, then Gran Turismo 7 is proof of that thesis. It's an intricately designed product, a beautiful racing game crafted with love and care, and most importantly, it's true to its soul and core, something that made the original Gran Turismo games a household name all those years ago. Gran Turismo 7 is a triumph for racing games and for Polyphony Digital, and we can't wait to see what's next for the series. That's all for now. If you enjoy what you saw, please hit the like button. And if you're new to the channel, now is a great time to subscribe. We upload brand new videos every single day. After subscribing, don't forget to enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you next time, right here on GamingBolt.